Alright, I'm going to show you guys two FPV shots. One is from a really popular drone that costs $500, and the other is from a drone that costs $80. See if you can tell which is which. Here's shot one. And here's shot two. Now, these clips are pretty short, but there are a few minor differences, including the weather since they were shot at different parts of the day. But did you notice anything else? Alright, well, here are the answers. If you chose the first clip as the premium drone, you got it. But if you chose the other one, or had no idea whatsoever, I don't blame you. It wasn't exactly an equal playing field. On the premium drone, I mounted this tiny Insta360 Go 2 camera, while the budget drone used a stripped down GoPro, which has better stabilization and produces a nicer image. The reality is, when it comes to FPV shots these days, a lot of your final shot will come down to the action camera you choose to use. And a good action camera could smooth out almost any imperfections in your flying. When it comes to freestyle clips like this, some people would even consider it cheating. What if you're a filmmaker and you only care about the final shot? Does the drone still matter? Is there any point in investing in a more expensive quad? Or should you save that money and invest in a better camera instead? Well, there are a variety of components that make up your standard FPV drone, and all of them contribute in one way or another to its performance. Although it might not be obvious now, lowering the quality of any of these parts can have unique consequences, which could all have an impact on your final video. So today, we're going to take a look at these two drones to see what those differences actually are. First, with such a large price difference, there are some compromises that are unavoidable. One of those being the video system. This is the Nazgul Evoque, one of the most popular pre-built drones you can buy today. When I'm flying the Evoque with my FPV goggles, I see what this FPV camera sees, and the video looks like this. Sure, it might be a step down from the action camera, but as far as FPV video goes, this is as good as it currently gets. This is the Darwin BabyApe, a cheap $80 drone that has been getting a lot of attention recently. When I look through my goggles while flying this one, the video looks something like this. Clearly, there's a very big difference, but the final video that you post will still be taken by the action camera. So why should you care? Well, having better FPV video quality can still be really critical. It'll help you see in difficult conditions, allow you to hit tighter gaps, allow you to see branches, wires, and other obstructions, and also just make you more confident to take bigger risks. Now, one of the reasons why the video quality between these two is so different is because the BabyApe uses an analog video system, which is why it might remind you of an old VHS tape. And until very recently, all FPV drones used analog video because of the minimal delay in the video signal. Now, I do have to say, before all the analog diehards get upset with me, not all analog cameras are this bad, and analog video can still be a great option. This is actually the worst analog camera I've personally ever used, but it just happens to be one of the corners that had to be cut to keep this price down as low as it is. The Evoque, on the other hand, uses digital video, which is a newer technology and clearly looks better. However, this digital system alone costs almost double the price of this entire drone. Besides the camera, another critical part of your video system is the video transmitter, or VTX. While the image quality of your video is mostly handled by the camera, the VTX, along with the antenna, is responsible for taking that image and broadcasting it back to your goggles. Depending on the quality of your VTX and the output power that it's capable of, the range that you'll be able to receive clear video will vary. You can see that with the Nazgul Evoque, I have clear video all the way to the back of this property, and it's capable of much more than that. In the past, I've flown this drone all the way up mountains with perfectly clear video the whole way. As for the BabyApe, as soon as I fly down this path and turn around, you'll notice my image gets more and more staticky. If I flew any further, I'd probably end up losing my video completely. Now, these days, it's pretty affordable to get a solid long-range connection between your drone and your controller. So actually losing control is less often a problem. Most of the time, you'll lose your video first, which can still be just as bad, and you could end up crashing as well. As you can imagine, the further you can fly, the more possibilities open up to the types of shots you can get, and having a solid VTX along with good antennas can help increase that range a lot. Alright, next, flight performance. And when it comes to performance, there are a variety of components that all contribute in their own way. For example, the strength of your motors, the quality of your flight stack, the rigidity of your frame, and the shape of your propellers will all make a difference to the way your drone flies. And cheaping out on any of these could reduce how quick or precise your drone is in the air. With cheaper components, you might start to notice unwanted vibrations or feel less in control of your drone's movements. This will become especially apparent if you want to fly Cinewhoops, which already have their performance limited by these propeller guards. And these quads are hard enough to keep steady as it is, and honestly, every little bit helps. Cheaper parts are also often less durable and may perform well at first, but then will break on you after a single crash. In this case, sometimes spending a little bit more money at the start could help save you money in the long run. Now, one way to mitigate this is to size down. And you might have noticed that the BabyApe is significantly smaller than the Nazgul Evoque. Now, this doesn't mean that all budget drones have to be small, but smaller components do usually tend to be more budget friendly, so it could be a good way to cut costs without sacrificing as much performance. A smaller drone is also lighter and will have a lighter impact during a crash. This could help offset the durability of your components, but one downside is that a lighter drone will also be more affected by wind, and it could affect when you can actually go out to fly it. When it comes to the BabyApe, for how cheap this guy is, it's honestly impressive how well it flies. It might not be as precise as the Evoque, but in a small park like this, you can honestly have a lot of fun. Now, I have heard from others that it might not be that durable, and some other reviewers have mentioned that it broke on them faster than they would have liked. I personally haven't crashed it yet, so I can't speak on that. Alright, next, it's important to consider power. And for the most part, more power costs more money. Whether you're filming sports, cars, or anything that goes fast, how fast you can fly can make or break your shot. To get more power, you'll first need stronger batteries, which are often more expensive on their own. You'll also need better components in your quad that are made to handle the additional stress from those batteries. The BabyApe uses 3S batteries, which have 3 battery cells working together to provide power to your drone. The Evoque uses 6S batteries, which are twice as strong. Now, even if you don't plan on flying quickly, stronger batteries can be more efficient, resulting in better performance and longer flight time. Having stronger motors and batteries will also mean that you can lift more weight, which will determine what action cameras you can mount in the first place. Essentially, more power equals more possibilities, because you can always limit the power of your drone and make it slower, but you can only push a less powerful drone so far. Now, if you're a beginner, you might not realize that your drone's components could affect your action camera as well. A bent propeller, a loose screw, a bad tune, or cheaper components could all introduce more vibrations during your flight, but they could also make their way into your final video. This is commonly known as Jello, and it can really ruin the clarity of your shot. Here's a bad example from some footage I shot when I first started flying. Now, some action cameras, like the new GoPros, are better at filtering out these vibrations and may give you clear video more reliably. When using cameras like the Insta360 Go 2, you have to be more careful. During my test shots for this video, the Go 2 footage looked mostly clear on the Evoque, but there was definitely some Jello when I put it on the BabyApe. Now, maybe it was just struggling in the wind, or it didn't like the extra weight of the camera. Either way, there was definitely a noticeable jiggle in the video. Like I mentioned earlier, the action camera you can use in the first place will be limited by the weight your drone can lift. While the Evoque can handle any action camera without a problem, there's no way I can mount this heavy GoPro on the BabyApe. As you've seen, if you have a GoPro, there is the option of stripping the camera, but it's not a perfect solution either. Naked cameras are significantly harder to work with and come with their own range of problems. By removing their original case, you're also sacrificing a lot of durability. It's much easier to break a naked camera than it is a regular GoPro. Alright, finally, when you're purchasing a premium drone, sometimes you're just paying for the little things. And when you purchase a Nazgul Evoque, there are a variety of little details on here that just make this more enjoyable to use. The Evoque can be purchased with an additional GPS that will attempt to recover your drone if you fly too far. It also comes with a beeper to help you find it when you crash. Both of these things require a better quality flight controller, extra space inside the frame, and the ability to carry the extra weight. All things that the BabyApe is lacking. The Evoque also comes with a more elegant design with walls that protect the drone from the elements. This is absolutely not necessary, but a huge asset when flying through snow, near waterfalls, or over the ocean. It can also be purchased with a receiver pre-installed, while the BabyApe requires you to buy one separately and solder it on. These are all little things, but all things that add up to make a big difference in your experience. So, all that being said, there's clearly some pretty big differences between these two quads. For $80, the BabyApe is honestly amazing, and it's capable of quite a lot. But there's also a reason why the Nazgul series of drones has been so popular. And there are definitely a ton of different shots that I'd be able to get with this one that I wouldn't be able to get with this little guy. It's also important to mention that you don't actually have to spend $500 on this drone. But if you're okay with analog video, you can get the analog version for $330. They might even sell the Nazgul 5 V2, which is the previous version, somewhere, and if you can find that, you might be able to get an even better deal as well. So for around $300, you can honestly pick up a quad that is capable of so much. Anyways, thanks so much for watching until this point, and I hope you guys got something out of this video. If you want to help support the channel, just giving this video a like or subscribing would honestly really help a lot. Also, if you wish, you can now become a patron for as little as $2 a month, or leave a one-time donation by clicking the thanks button down below. All and any of those things will help me make more videos like this one. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.